special presentation.
Indianapolis Motor Speedway on Saturday afternoon. The cool of evening approaches. It is day 3 of qualifying for the 76th Indianapolis 500. The temperature begins to drop late in the afternoon at 81 degrees, down 3 from the day's high of 84. Humidity holding at 54. The wind still a bit brisker than these drivers would like. And Dominic Dobson is on the racetrack in what promises to be a very eventful happy hour, as it's known here at the world's greatest racetrack. The final hour of running is always when the action happens in Indy. That's when the big speeds occur. I'm Dave Despain with Derek Daly, and as we head into this final hour, Derek, so much pressure on these drivers because the weather forecast for tomorrow calls for rain. It's conceivable this could be the end of qualifying for this big race.
Well, that's right, and of course the nerve end is beginning to get frayed here. Dominic Dobson knows all too well what it's like to qualify on the last day. He did it last year, in fact, was one of the last qualifiers. This is the Burns Racing entry. Burns Racing is local from here in Indianapolis. It's a team that just does one race here. They were successful last year with Dominic Dobson after he came back, in fact, from a leg-breaking incident during practice, and he successfully came back to qualify. This year, they come back with a Chevrolet engine and a 91 Lola. Quite a potent package, but remember, he did not run at all last week. This week was the first time he got out on the racetrack in this car.
Dobson is seeking his 5th 500 start, his best finish in the race 13th last year, 1991. Keep in mind that we have just had a crash by Pancho Carter. We'll update that in a moment. We have 3 pit reporters standing by today. Dr. Jerry Punch is with us, along with Gary Lee and Marty Reed, and I believe we have a report from one of those guys to kick things off here.
Gentlemen, you mentioned Dominic Dobson as he comes out of turn 4 and gets ready for the green flag for his qualifying effort. Waving that green flag, another Indianapolis native, Chuck Person, up here at Indiana Pacer, the forward Indiana Pacer and captain of the NBA team. He is a co-sponsor on that car for Dominic Dobson. Remember, they did not get on the racetrack until Thursday. They had to get engines from Chevrolet through Penske. They have an engine, a day of practice, only one day, and now trying to make a qualifying attempt because, as you said, worried about weather here tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jerry Punch. This is the 4th official qualifying attempt of the day. Pancho Carter and Didier Tays, correction, it is the 5th attempt of the day. Pancho Carter and Didier Tays waved off qualifying tries early in the day when it was cool. Then through the heat of the day, there has been a great deal of practice and the search for speed. And now we have an official attempt underway here for Dominic Dobson. And we'll monitor speeds here as he runs a 4-lap run with the average for the 4 laps, the qualifying speed. And the speed to beat is, at this point, the slow speed in the field, 218.286. And he's up over 219. I would say he's right on the bubble, eh?
I think if he can continue this average, they would take it. He was above 220 miles an hour yesterday in practice, which really surprised me and I think everybody else because he got it so quickly. Today he ran in the mid-219s. So sometimes when they start on new tires, they actually get a little bit faster. So it'll be interesting to see right now as he crosses the line what his speed for his second lap is.
Let us make the point that Brian Bonner, a rookie, and Lynn St. James, the second woman in history to qualify for the race, have both made the field and will line up in row 10 pending the bumping process, which of course is the next stage of qualifying here. He is off the throttle, and I think it is clear that Dominic Dobson will not complete this attempt, although I'm not sure it is clear at this point exactly why. His speed dropped rather dramatically on lap 2.
And that was the reason, down to a 217.5. That is much too slow an average, so rather than take a chance to take a run like this, remember they have 3 attempts. That is the first one charged to Dominic Dobson. He has 2 more opportunities in this car.
Big guns still to qualify. Johnny Rutherford, 3-time winner. Gordon Johncock, twice a winner. Mark Dismore, such a story here last year, still a rookie. Mike Groff, Tony Bettenhausen of a legendary Indy family. Pancho Carter's hopes dashed here by a crash a few moments ago. Didier Tays waved off a 219 and 218 combination of laps earlier today. A couple more rookies, Ted Prappis and Jeff Woods. Fabrizio Barbaza has found another ride after 2 crashes. Dobson you've just seen. Johnny Parsons may make a qualifying attempt here today. Kenji Momoda trying to become the second Japanese driver. And Tom Sneva, another former winner, still to qualify here during happy hour at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The third day of racing here. Scott Goodyear heads out onto the racetrack. We'll be right back.
The Indy 500 Time Trials is brought to you by Valvoline. People who know use Valvoline. And by Yokohama Tires. Advanced technology on wheels.
Time trials coverage scheduled for tomorrow at 1:30 Eastern Time. 2 more shows tomorrow. We're all hoping the weather will be good as we bring you the continuing action. Eddie Cheever crossing the finish line last Sunday and startling a great many people with a run of 2:29.6 for the middle of row 1 for the brand new Ford Cosworth XB engine. Great run for the Formula One driver. We are back live here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That was not Scott Goodyear who just went out. That was Scott Goodyear's car.
Yes.
But in one of the machinations of qualifying here, it's driven by a backup driver. He waved off. So whether we'll get back to that story or not, I don't know. It was Mike Groff in the car, and he simply didn't come up to speed.
And in fact, there was debris on the racetrack, so it was USAC who turned the yellow light on, which obviously means there's no attempt charge to that car. What Mike Groff is doing is that is the 92 car that Scott Goodyear, it's his primary car. Groff, if he qualifies that car, Goodyear then has the option to change into that car, which he does prefer. If that happens and Groff changes into the other car, both drivers go to the back of the grid. But that is the intention at the moment for Derek Walker.
It is important to remember that the car qualifies. Once the car is in the field, you may then change drivers in the car by moving it to the back. There is the car, and the action that initiated this little mini drama was that Scott Goodyear on Saturday of last week became the final first day qualifier in his primary car. You saw Dominic Dobson wave off his qualifying attempt. Let's go trackside to Jerry Punch, who is with Dominic.
Thank you very much, Dave. What a difference a year makes. Last year, Dominic, coming here, you struggled for the month of May with the fracture. We talked about the leg, and yet you ran the race, had a good finish. It looked like you guys were set to go out and qualify and have some pretty good laps. Lap 1, 2:19, and then suddenly you slow and pull it in. What was the problem?
Well, the tobacco-free American car just lost boost. I don't know why. It's been running very well today, and boost hasn't been a problem. This is the first time this has manifested itself, so it was real disappointing because we thought we could do a good run and be over 220.
What do you think about with the possibility of rain tomorrow? Do you come in and take a shot number 2 at it? See, they have the cover off the engine compartment behind us. Can you get back out this afternoon, get through tech, and get back out, take one more shot?
Well, the Burns crew will work very hard, obviously, to get the problem solved. If they can diagnose what it is and get it solved, we'll go back out today. I'd sure like to get it done today so we can get in the field. Otherwise, tomorrow we don't know what's going to happen.
That's Dominic Dobson hoping to get in the field today. Let's go further up pit road where another car owner is standing by with Marty Reed, who has Derek Walker. Marty?
Thanks, Jerry. Derek, question first off is, what do you do now? USAC said they found a mirror out there. You obviously don't have enough fuel. Do you have enough time?
Sure. I mean, we were ready to go if the track was green. Obviously, there was something there, so they did the right thing and stop us from making a run. We'll put some fuel and be back right out again and take our place in line, and we don't have to go through the tech again because we've done that. They'll just keep an eye on us when we go get fuel. We'll be back out again as soon as possible.
Nothing is easy for your team.
Well, I don't know if I'd agree with that. I mean, things are happening. They're not all in our control. We just do the same job every day. Sometimes things work out. Sometimes you got to work a little harder. Today, it looks like we're working a little harder.
Derek Walker still got a smile on his face.
That's the perfect philosophy. You go out there and do the best you can and let the chips fall. The chips fell the wrong way for Pancho Carter at 4:42 this afternoon. The veteran of the 500, as you can see from the skid marks, lost control in turn 2 and slapped the outside wall, peeled the right front off what I believe is the only car that he has a shot with which to make the field.
And he didn't have many laps in this car. He lost control on the way into turn 2, hit the wall very, very hard. You can see he wiped the right side off the car completely, and he was actually trapped in this car. You see him trying to get out here. His feet are obviously trapped down inside, not able to get himself out. The safety crews had to come along, work to get him out, put him on a stretcher, and took him away to the infield medical center for observation.
I think we can get an update on the Pancho Carter situation from Gary Lee. Gary?
Dave, I've just returned to the pit area from the infield hospital where Poncho has been examined by Dr. Henry Bach and the staff at the infield hospital. He will be transferred downtown to Methodist for an x-ray to the right forearm. I talked to his wife, Carla. He's in good spirits, complaining about some bruises along the right thigh and hip. But the main concern right now is the x-rays on a very sore and perhaps broken right forearm.
Poncho had reached a speed approaching 220 miles an hour and had a decent shot at making the show. 4 spots remain. Tom Sneva very much wants one of those positions. The gas man, a former winner, is standing by intact for a qualifying attempt when we come back to Indianapolis Motor Speedway. In Indianapolis for the Indianapolis 500. Meanwhile, out west, America's Cube clinches the America's Cup in San Diego. We've heard from the victorious team. We have a lull here between qualifying attempts at the 500. So let's go back to Jim Kelly and an interview with the skipper of the Challenger, Ilmore. Hi, thank you very much, Jim Kelly. Welcome back to Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Our congratulations to America Cube, victorious in America's Cup competition. Here at Indy, we have had a bit of a surprise from my opinion, my viewpoint, with clouds across the speedway. They've gone back to practice. Let's look at the starting lineup as it exists now. Roberto Guerrero shattering the track record, 2:32.5, starts on the pole in a Buick. Eddie Cheever and Mario Andretti in 2 of those new Fords, and remember the incident at Long Beach, will start second and third.
Row 2, Ari Leindyke, another one of the Ford engine cars. Gary Bettenhausen with the Buick, and on the outside, Michael Andretti.
Scott Brayton has put another of the Buicks inside row 3. Danny Sullivan in the Gallmer is the best Chevy qualifier. The defending pole and race champion, Rick Mears, outside row 3.
Row 4, Bobby Rahal. Many people think he could be one of the strongest threats on race day. Beside him, Emerson Fittipaldi, Rick Mears' teammate, and then Al Unser Jr. has been a bit quiet this month so far.
Stan Fox with a good qualifying run. The veteran of the midgets and sprinters inside row 5. John Andretti continuing the Andretti family legacy from the middle of row 5. And Eric Bachelard is the best qualified rookie outside.
Philippe Gache, another rookie, comes from France. Beside him is Scott Pruitt in the True Sports car. And then John Paul Jr. did very little running here, but qualified very well.
Paul Tracy put a Penske car into the wall in practice, came back to qualify inside row 7, right alongside Jeff Andretti, 4th member of the family to make the show, and Scott Goodyear was the final first day qualifier.
Row 8, Jim Crawford, the star of the first week here, but didn't get a fair chance to go for the pole. Al Unser replaces Nelson Piquet, and then we have A.J. Foyt.
And moving on to row 9, it'll be Buddy Lazier on the inside. Raul Boesel in a last-minute deal starts in the middle of row 9, and Jimmy Vasser, the rookie, was the final qualifier on day 2.
Row 10, Brian Bonner, one of the stories here today, qualified above 220, and then Lynn St. James creates history here at the Speedway by being the 2nd woman ever to qualify, and she's also the fastest.
Bonner and James, the only 2 drivers to qualify thus far today. 4 spots are still available. Nobody in line to run for them. We'll be back with more right after this.
In case you need to push your truck.
Flying at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the winner here in 1983, a former track record holder. Tom Sneva, you just got in the car this morning. I understand you may go out to try to qualify this afternoon.
Well, we might. It just depends. We're pretty close, I think. We're just going to try to run it one more time, and if we get in and get fuel and get back out, we'll do it.
They've changed tires. He's ready to go. We may see the gas man qualify yet this afternoon.
You better get out of the way there, Gary. You get run over. He's in the middle of the action down there. And I think you sense the drama, the tension, the pressure. Qualifying closes at 6 o'clock regardless, and if it rains tomorrow, they would have to postpone until Monday. So I'm surprised that they're out there practicing now and that nobody's up making a qualifying attempt.
I think one of the reasons that they're out there practicing is I can only surmise that the people left to qualify do not have enough confidence in the speed that their cars can attain right now. But another point Tom Sneva just made, we've got to go back for fuel. We heard, we have an engine blow-up. This is Kenji Momota, so that will ruin his possible attempt for today. But I mentioned earlier, Sneva says he's got to go back for fuel. Derek Walker said earlier, we got to go back for fuel. They say, well, why don't you carry enough? The reason is fuel is weight. Too much fuel, remember, it weighs over 7 pounds per gallon. So they run the minimum to try and get the ultimate speed out of these cars. You run 5 or 6 gallons, you have to go all the way back to Gasoline Alley and refuel again. That's very time consuming.
Kenji Momoto has blown an engine. He who crashed here earlier in practice for the 500 qualifying. You saw A.J. Foyt down there in a shot a moment ago with his new teammate, young Jeff Andretti. Let's get an update from their pit as we go to Dr. Jerry Punch.
And the legendary A.J. Foyt standing with us. And A.J., first of all, why is Jeff out in the 14T car?
Well, we feel we're safe, but just to shake it down in case we need it, to put him back in case he gets bumped. That's the biggest reason.
Now, you were on your knees a minute ago. You think someone has done as much as you have would be able to have someone else do that, but you're under the car looking to see what's wrong. Now, what happened?
Well, actually, we seen the splitter there that come loose, and then we seen them aluminum shavings, and some way it come from underneath the ground effects on the tunnels and sucked it right in the rear wheel and got on the brake caliper and just cut a groove in the wheel. I mean, I just can't believe something like that could happen.
Better today than, say, a week from Sunday.
That's true.
A.J. Foyt, the legend to the Brickyard, here trying to get his backup car up to speed. Let's go up pit road to Marty Reed.
Well, thanks, Doc. We're with Johnny Parsons, who's waiting for the track to go green again. You were just out at 2:15. Obviously, you're still searching for speed, JP.
That's right, Marty. We're going to have to get set up to run flat out all the way around. Most of the guys are. So we're working out here with Phil, the engineer, and the rest of the guys trying to get dialed in, get a little more comfortable for me.
Game plan with a chance of 50% thunderstorms tomorrow. You going to try and stick it in the show today?
Well, if we're fortunate enough to get our handle a little better and look at our speed, we might do that. If not, we might be better off waiting for some cooler weather tomorrow.
There you got it, JP. Still a flip of a coin.
Johnny Parsons, again, the evidence of the pressure, time running out, got to go out there and go flat out.
And remember, the car that he's in has already been crashed twice by Fabrizio Barbazza, so he had a lot of trouble getting this car up to speed. I shiver when I hear JP say, I'm going to try and run flat out, because that is when you can get in the danger zone here. And the more time slips away, which is what's happening right now because the track is closed, the more you got to step into that danger zone, which is a very difficult situation to put a driver in when he's had so few laps in one of these cars.
Mark Dismore had a horrendous crash here a year ago, knows the danger zone very well. He has struggled horribly this month in his attempt to make a comeback at Indianapolis. They have never gotten that car up to speed. And so Mark Dismore, again, fighting the battle of the clock here as they pull that car back in. We have a report now that Mike Groff has moved into tech. And to update the procedure once again, the car goes into tech inspection. It must be tech inspected before a qualifying attempt. When a car goes into tech, the track closes down for that qualifying run. If there's nobody to qualify, they then reopen the track. Everybody can practice. It's an all skate, and they go looking for speed. So it appears that Mike Groff is going to give us a qualifying attempt here and try to become the 30th qualifier for the 76th running of the Indy 500. We'll be right back to see if he can make it.
And after the horrendous crash last year, he's come back, put his racing career back on the road. But it's been a very trying month, and now I understand some more engine problems.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there when I left the pits. We have the dash program to tell you, that something's wrong, and it came on there that, something was definitely wrong in the engine department, so I just shut it off.
You have to feel the frustration. I mean, I would think the kaleidoscope of emotions that you have gone through this month, the frustrations, now you're running out of time, the weather for tomorrow, you simply have not had the speed it's going to take.
Yeah, it's wrote right here on my forehead. Can't you see it?
I don't see the gray hair yet.
I don't know. I think they're rooting, I'll tell you. It's been has been frustrating. We were close, I think, a couple of days ago, and these things are like a Rubik's Cube. You turn everything, and all of a sudden all the colors are right, and then you got it. But we just haven't been able to get our cube right, But these guys have been great. They're hanging in there, and we're working hard, and miracles do happen, and that's what we're hoping for. So we'll just keep plugging away.
You got thousands of fans that are hoping as well with you. You can stick that car in the show.
Well, I appreciate all the support. There's been a lot of people that expressed a lot of support for me, and I'm grateful for that, and we're trying. That's all I can say.
Another guy who has also had a trying month after crashing one car, a very famous racing name, Bettenhausen. This one is Tony.
Indeed, the youngest member of the famous Bettenhausen family, sitting here with his 91 Penske Chevrolet on pit road. And Tony, I know it has been a frustrating week after what happened last Sunday, a freak incident. What actually happened last week?
Well, we lost the seal in the transmission as we went into turn 3, and when the car put the load on the right-hand side of the race car, the transmission grease came out the open seal and got on the right rear tire.
What about getting this backup 91 Penske up to speed? You've had some pretty good laps, yet they got the cover off here and you're still working. What's the current status?
Well, as usual, we had a couple laps, 3 or 4 laps yesterday at over 220 miles an hour, and today we came out and the wind was blowing hard out in south, which was a different direction. We can't get the understeer out of the car up in turn 3. We just, every time we go out, we got a big lift up there to make the corner without knocking the fence down, so we're still chasing that.
And time is running and time's a wasted, as they say, with the weather moving in tomorrow. They are working on the rear springs here in Tony Bettenhausen's 91 Penske. We'll wait and see if he is yet to make a run here in the late hours of the afternoon. Back upstairs.
About 26 or 27 minutes remaining before the end of what could be the final day of qualifying. Much rides on the weather. We'll tell you the forecast when we come back to Indianapolis Motor Speedway happy hour at the world's most famous racetrack. Indianapolis, the only place in the racing world to be in the month of May, and we're pleased that you are here to join us. Dave Despain with Derek Daly. I like the analogy Dismore draws to the Rubik's Cube. You've got to get all the pieces in just the right place, and he especially needs those pieces in place.
Exactly. Recovering from such a devastating crash that he had here last year, really from a driver's point of view, he needed to come here with a car that gave him confidence and that actually made his month of May a little bit easier. He has not been comfortable in this car at all. He definitely is a little bit spooked. He's not sure of the handling, and that is the worst possible situation you can have with a driver coming back from such a horrendous crash last year.
The speeds have escalated. Perfection is all the more important when you breach the 230-mile-per-hour mark. We're ready to go down trackside to the man whose qualifying time is the slowest in the field. If indeed we get more than 33 cars, he becomes the man in danger of being bumped, and he's standing by with Gary Lee.
Understand, Dave, the racing vernacular here at the Brickyard. If you're the slowest in the field, you're on the bubble, waiting for someone to burst that bubble. Right now, Jimmy Vasser, you chose a 2:18.2. You took that speed last week, but I think perhaps you're eager to get out in the backup car because you've been up to 2:21 in that one.
Yeah, well, we had both of our Codalux Vital Care lows up over 2:21, and we didn't really want to be in this position to take a 2:18, but you know, we're ready to go with the backup car if we need to be. The only thing is you have to scratch your other car before you qualify the backup car, so we don't want to do that right now.
And you looked at me and said, what time is it? How much time do we have left in qualifying today? We look at the forecast for tomorrow. It may be on your side.
Perhaps. We're just going to have to wait and see. There's nothing we can really do about it.
Well, one guy who wants to be in this field is a former winner. Let's get a progress update now on Tom Sneva, and here's Dr. Jerry Punch.
And Tom Sneva's car going through technical inspection. And Tom, oddly enough, I just spoke a minute ago with John Menard. He said, I don't think we're up to speed yet. We may wait till tomorrow. And here you are going through tech, ready to go.
Well, you know, you might as well take an attempt now. I mean, we're close. It just depends on what the weather is going to do. The car run quick enough for a lap, but then the tires, with the track conditions the way they are, seem to go off a little bit. So, you know, you overcompensate, and, you know, maybe, you know, we'll just go see. It doesn't hurt to go see. You know, you're not going to have much time tomorrow anyway, and you got 3 attempts. You can always wave one off, but we'll just go see what happens.
The crew said we don't know how fast the car will run because you, in typical Tom Sneva fashion, run one corner, take a break, run another corner, take a break. We won't know how fast he can go until the gas man pushes the button and takes the green flag.
Well, the driver knows, and it's marginal right now.
You heard from the horse's mouth himself, Tom Sneva, former Indianapolis 500 winner, getting set to go out in the John Menard car, the Buick-powered machine, as we're going to go back upstairs for more qualifying.
A front will come through tonight, bringing with it rain. How long the front hangs around is the issue. There will be partial clearing tomorrow. There is a phenomenon at Indianapolis called weepers, water coming up through the track, which can stop running on the racetrack. They may or may not run tomorrow. Mike Groff is on the track. Marty has an update.
Well, Mike Groff, remember when we talked to him in our first hour today? He talked about the fact that the motor was starting to lose a little bit of oil pressure down the straightaway, and they thought that it might be just stretched enough that they could get 4 quick laps. Well, remember, he had to do those 2 warm-up laps. This could be critical. These guys are sitting on pins and needles, and he's just started.
Groff will make the attempt. He has taken the green flag, and Mike Groff is off into turn number 2, the short chute, and out onto the backstretch. In the beginning of an official qualifying run, trying to become the third driver today to make the show. Brian Bonner and Lynn St. James have qualified thus far.
Had a great time here last year, qualified above 219 miles an hour, the fastest rookie ever at the Speedway. Came here with nothing to do, walked around for the first week, hands in his pockets, talked to everybody, hoping to land a ride with somebody. Then this Derek Walker opportunity opened up because this car blew an engine at the critical time last Saturday when Scott Goodyear wanted to qualify it. Goodyear was forced to go to his backup car, hence the opportunity opens up for Mike Groff.
The veteran of quarter midget racing and go-kart racing has turned a lap at 2:21 and a half. An excellent, excellent qualifying run. Indeed, they do have both these Goodyear cars, the primary and the backup, well up over the 220-mile-an-hour mark. The slowest time in the field, Jimmy Vasser, from whom we just heard, at 2:18.2. That is not an issue yet. There are still 4 spots available, and if Groff can hold that questionable motor together for 2 more laps, he'll have one of those spots.
And this is a great run by Mike Groff. Will delight Derek Walker. In fact, his second lap again is even faster, above 221.806 miles an hour. So Mike Groff really having a great run here for Derek Walker.
He's come out of the Super V ranks. That's where he really got his open wheel experience, raced the ARS cars, has come up, I think, through what is now perhaps the traditional avenue for a budding IndyCar driver. The days when sprint car racers came to Indy and made the big show are pretty well over.
Ran a limited program, or an under-financed program, let's say, with Euro Motorsports last year, then got his big break. Well, everybody thought it was his big break. The crew watches, holds their fists, crosses their fingers, hopes he makes this last lap. But he drove for AJ Foyt last year, and it did not materialize into the type of program that he wanted long-term. So hence he was walking around again. He is even faster.
You saw the time, over 2:22, and that will boost the average to the high 2:21s. If that engine will hold together for a couple of more corners, Mike Groff will definitely be in the Indianapolis 500 for the second year in a row. A 24th place finish last year, and he can coast across from there. The crew know they've done it, and that car will go in the field, although it will remain to be seen how the shuffle of drivers works out. But Mike Groff has done a great job as his 4-lap average. See if we can get it before we leave. It looks like 2:21.8 unofficially for Mike Groff. Good job, and Groff becomes the third qualifier today, joining Brian Bonner and Lynn St. James in the Indy 500. We'll be back to hear from him after this.
Train heat pumps can really take it. They can also dish it out. Get an instant check of up to $250 when you buy a Train heat pump system. It's hard to stop a train.
Hi friends, I'm Dave Henninger from Vans Comfort Temp Air Conditioning. For quality Train products and expert service on all makes and models, call us. We've been satisfying customers since 1965.
Sizzling serving of hot summer nights and America's favorite pastime.
On out to make his qualifying attempt.
And in slow motion, it's actually difficult to detect it exactly what happened. When Didier Thays came down on his final warm-up lap into turn 1, it got very squirrely. The car, the back end got away from him. He made a correction, then a couple of lefts and rights, scared him enough to think that there was something was wrong, backed off, and there was no attempt charged. Because remember, at 11 o'clock this morning, Didier Thays waved off his first official attempt.
The fastest qualifier today gets $25,000. 33rd place in last year's Indy 500 was worth $111,000. Conceivably, these guys are racing today for $150,000, and this is for last place that they're battling. Marty Reed is standing by with the man who right now has a lock on that $25,000 check.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but you're in the line for $25,000 today.
That sounds good to me. That's great. These guys did a good job. The McKenzie Lola ran wonderful here. Scott Goodyear, my teammate, did a great job of setting the car up, and it was easy for me. I just drove the thing. So I'd like to thank the guys for doing a super job.
We talked several hours ago about this motor being maybe on its last leg. What were you thinking there in that last lap?
Well, I just was really concentrating on the job at hand there, and that was kind of in the back of my mind, but thankfully it didn't come into play.
It comes out tomorrow, right?
Yeah, that's right,
Nice job, Mike.
Thank you.
I like racing where a guy can go out and battle for last place and get 140 grand. I like to see these guys make a lot of money. This is the final, could be the final day of qualifying, but more likely what will happen is they will run a bit tomorrow, and certainly Didier Taze now joins the list of people who hope for decent weather tomorrow. Let's see if we can find out what happened on his second aborted qualifying attempt of the day as Gary Lee is on pit road.
Well, this is not really advantageous to do an interview, but Didier, what happened when you got squirrely out there?
Well, the car gets loose in turn one.
Well, I think perhaps you could hear that. He said the car, he said the car got loose. It's very difficult to converse with a driver with the helmet on as they're leaving him in the car and pushing him back to establish a qualifying line should they get a chance to go out tomorrow, weather permitting.
6 o'clock today, they stop. Here is the line that we're talking about. It's cool. Anybody who thinks they have a shot wants to get out there, and that is going to be the goal right now for Tom Sneva as he begins the qualifying attempt you heard him talk about a moment ago. Sneva's an old pro at this. He knows the whole world's not riding on this one run.
And Tom Sneva, the gas man, has been Mr. Excitement here on so many occasions. Remember, he did this Banzai run last year in Menard's third car, and it didn't hold up for the race. Now he's out. I bet he's going to hold his breath for as near as he can to this 4-lap, because he definitely is in the danger zone now, trying to push this car faster than he has gone, because remember, he told us earlier he doesn't think it's quite there, but he's going to give it every effort. He has been known to use all the track and the wall before in every attempt to just wring some extra miles an hour out of some of these cars.
He did not sound terrifically confident, but let's see how it looks. 217, almost 218 miles an hour on the first lap. That would be the slowest qualifying time thus far. Had dinner with Tom last week, and he didn't have a ride. I asked him if he was looking for a ride, and he said, well, semi-actively looking for a ride. Last night, he had dinner at a restaurant here in town, and according to the local paper, the waitress came by to collect his salad plate and said, well, are you finished yet? Having fielded questions all week long about what he was going to do, he looked up and grinned and said, you mean career-wise? Typical of the new face of IndyCar racing. A guy like this who comes here with no ride puts together a last-minute deal.
Last-minute deals are the most difficult for a driver to jump into because the speeds are so fast these days, but I'm not sure Sneva will take this. I'm pretty sure they'll wave off because he's still only in the 217 range. I don't think they're going to, I'm sure they're going to wave this off.
If his reason for taking this would be if they believe the forecast and believe that there would not be a running tomorrow, although now the issue becomes one of filling the field, because if indeed we don't get 33 qualifiers by the end of the day, and if it rained out tomorrow, there would be more qualifying on Monday. So the weather plays an interesting role here.
Now we see the white flag. They only have one more chance to wave this run off. Now Sneva's third lap, I mean, he's very consistent. He's still in the 217 mile an hour range. But this is not fast enough. If they take this, it is a huge gamble that they hope it will rain tomorrow. Now remember, this is a 220 mile an hour plus car. It's a Lola with a Buick. I'll really be surprised if they take this.
Yellow flag indicating that Tom Sneva's time will not stand as a qualifying attempt. Tom Sneva has waved off a consistent 217.9, 217.9, and 217.7. They will search for more speed as the 82 winner tries to find his way into the 92 field. The fascination of late qualifying at Indianapolis. Gordy Johncock coming up next.
The 91 Lola Chevrolet at 10 Prapus will attempt to qualify as John Cock comes down pit road or comes down the main straightaway. And Norm, last year you guys came so close but had heartbreak on the final weekend.
Yeah, last year we had the 89 with the 2-inch diffuser and didn't do us any good, and Ted had a
accident in turn 4 and put us out for the race. So this month has been a little bit slower for us, but we're getting up to speed, and we've gone 221, so we know the car and Ted is capable of doing the right speeds. It's getting the right timing down now.
That's Norm Turley. His driver, 36-year-old Ted Prappus, will be next to go out. But right now, you're watching Gordy Johncock trying to get in the field for the 76th Indy 500.
A factual correction. I called Sneva the 82 winner. Sneva, of course, won it in 83 because this guy won it in 82 in the most dramatic IndyCar finish or Indy 500 finish in history, beating Rick Mears by a car length at the wire. Gordy has been struggling to get up to speed this year.
And some of the big names struggling on this last weekend. The amazing thing I found when I went through Gasoline Alley earlier on today and talked to some of these drivers like Ted Prappus, it was amazing that I came away thinking qualifying is actually out of their hands. They are not in control of their own destiny because they set the cars up, and in good conditions, good track conditions, the cars will go above 220 miles an hour. Suddenly the weather changes and they lose 4 and 5 miles an hour, which really puts them into major problems. So it's staggering to think the millions of dollars that are spent on these cars, tuning and tweaking them, and yet ultimately their destiny can be out of their hands because of the weather.
Gordy was magnificent here a year ago, coming from dead last in the field to finish 6th. His first qualifying lap of 2:17.9, and using every bit of the road, as you can see there on exit, would certainly put him at the back of the field. Here is Jimmy Vasser looking on. Jimmy, who ran 2:18.2, is glad to see Johncock at 2:17.
He's going to watch everybody that gets out on the racetrack right now. They do not want to take out their other car because they would have to disqualify the one that's already in the field. Remember the crash we saw of Pancho Carter earlier on? I mean, it's a terrible thing for Carter to have happen, but that in fact helped Jimmy Vasser because Pancho Carter, I believe, is the 4th fastest man of the day here because he ran over 223 miles an hour. So that accident helped Jimmy Vasser.
Ted Prappus is in line and will be next to qualify as Gordon Johncock puts the second lap in the book and the speed falls off to 2:16.8. He lost more than a mile an hour, and Gordy is definitely going the wrong way. They'll wave this off too, I think, undoubtedly.
Yes, I think so. Too risky. Remember, if they took this, the only thing they can think about is that there is no more speed to be found in this car, and they hope for a torrential downpour tomorrow, which I don't think you can go with that risk factor. I think you'll probably see Gordy Johncock's car owner, who is Ron Hemmelgarn, wave this run off.
And remember, as the time runs out here and we approach 6 o'clock, the only way that Johncock's time would live were if the field were full today and it rained out tomorrow. And right now he'll still have 3 spots left, and I don't think we have time to qualify 3 more cars. So I believe Johncock is indeed destined to wave this one off as he loses another 0.3 of a mile an hour. That lap at 2:16.586. Prappus is next, and Kenji Momota's crew have apparently worked a minor miracle. There is the wave off. That is the wave off on Gordon Johncock. Momota's car is reported to be intact, although I suspect they know they will not get a shot. We'll be back to put the cap on happy hour at Indianapolis Motor Speedway right after this. Won the race. Here he is this year as the fastest Chevy qualifier in the middle of row 3. The green flag has just flown at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It flies for Ted Prappus, and Ted immediately drops down below the white line. This does not look like a qualifying attempt to me, Derek Daly.
Not a good attempt. He was hoping to run in the cool conditions. They were above 220 miles an hour in cool conditions. Ted Prappus, who had a terrible time here last year, had an accident on the final qualifying run. Norm Turley, we heard from him earlier on. He runs this team's PIG. They also run an Indy Lights team, but Ted Prappus, who had the ideal conditions, will not get another chance today. He has to wait for tomorrow.
He will be charged with an attempt, having taken the green flag. For an update on what's happening down there in line, let's go to Gary Lee.
Actually, Dave, I'm at the head of the tech line where some strategy is being played out. These guys know they're out of time. No more qualifying this afternoon, but they're positioning themselves and their cars in line so when they qualify tomorrow.
Who came so close 3 years ago will try to win their first. And it could be $1 million payday for Davey Allison at the Coca-Cola 600. Memorial Day weekend, the 2 biggest races of the year, the Indianapolis 500 and the Charlotte Coca-Cola 600.